This McDonald's card just sold for $85,000. That means that somebody just took out their wallet and spent $85,000 on a McDonald's card. You could buy a fucking Range Rover for $85,000. You could franchise a McDonald's for $85,000. That's $85,000 to the place that made the McRib. We'll break down the player and more in this episode of Up or Down. What is up, everybody? I am Dappz here with Ethan, and this is Up or Down, where we take a look at what moves a card's value up or down. This week, we're diving into a couple big stories. Jackson Merrill's fast signing controversy, eBay's new PSA pricing structure, and the record-breaking McDonald's Cooper Flagg sale. What's the hobby bitching about this week, Ethan? It looks like Jackson Merrill has signed a long-form version of his autograph and a short-form version of his autograph, and it's just making everyone irate because somebody receives a Merrill out of a pack with the long form versus the short form. The short form is a lazy autograph, and the hobby is bitching, as we do. Do they have the right to bitch is the question.
Well, if the hobby wasn't bitching about something, there's something wrong. A short form auto has been around for generations. I mean, Mahomes shortened his auto. Giannis shortened his auto. Everyone shortens their auto. They don't want to get these hand cramps. They don't want to go on the IR from signing too many autographs. It takes a long time to sign these cards most of the time, so you're going to get a short autograph. But how about you mix in a short autograph with a long inscription?
I like that idea. And I think what Jackson Merrill was saying was, I don't enjoy doing this. I'm signing 3,000 cards a clip. And I think the hobby is saying, well, you like the check that comes in. You don't decline the check, right? So I'm not really opposed to athletes or players shortening their autograph, but I want to say think about that before you start signing. But I think at the point at which they stop or realize, hey, I don't want to sign this long autograph is after they've signed 1,000 cards.
People need to think about the logistics. Have you ever seen the training camp autographs? Like, let's say you're at a game and you throw a guy a ball. You're lucky to get ink on the ball. I mean, it's the quickest auto. It's 2 seconds. You got to sign 100 autographs. You don't have hours to wait. You're a professional athlete. What they need to do is, if you're shortening your autographs, just make the autographs cooler. Like I said, did you see the Grammys last week where the people were signing the screens of the camera? Why don't they have that on cards? Why can't you sign? I want the autographs to be more personalized. I want to see you signing it. You ever see the videos of like an NFL player like signing, like basically falling asleep, like not even looking at it? Give me the short form autos, but let me see you do it. Put a smile on your face. Wear the jersey. Put the shoulder pads on.
Yeah, I think that I like the concept of a player who signs long form their first year in the league. And then if you change it year 2 and then that's your new autograph, like that also kind of makes first year autographs more valuable, right? So I'm not really opposed to a player signing for a year, half a year early, and then changing his autograph so that when he signs 3,000 cards a time or 5,000 cards at a time, he can get through it. He can get through the process. It's not agonizing because, listen, I think a lot of these events that athletes go to, I've been to them as both a fan who wants an autograph and just participated in the back end of it where I watch the athletes signing for hours and hours and hours. There's photographs, then there's baseballs, then there's baseball bats, right? And there's 50, 100 pieces of each. This takes time, right? It takes time, and you're sitting there and you're signing for 3 hours. I could understand Jackson Merrill's frustration. I don't think you should retaliate towards fans and talk smack to them. I think you should just say, listen, I realized after my first year in the league, I had never signed autographs before, and now I signed 10,000 of them, and I realized, hey, I'd rather just shorten this autograph.
Yeah, maybe they learned cursive over that time. It actually helps you out. So let me put people on game. As a big Mahomes guy myself, I know what Mahomes' first autograph looks like. It's not just a P and the 2 stripes. He puts a T in there and an M in there. So when I see black boxes or 2018, 2019 autos with the old autographs on it, people who do not know this, who just see, oh, it's a Mahomes auto, you buy them for the comp and you price them up because they're the OG autos. Now that I see Jackson Merrill's autos like a long form one like these, you're going to see in 5 years all the black boxes come out. with these autos, and you should pay a premium on them.
And isn't this the third version of his signature now?
Oof, I am not a Jackson Merrill sharp yet.
The autograph that I first saw long form looked different than this.
Do they not teach cursive anymore? Is that what it is?
I haven't been to school in years. Well, listen, this is where we're getting into this zone of now you have 3 different autographs. And I don't think that's good for the hobby. I think that's bizarre. That's what is going on.
Autographs, the size doesn't matter. Whoa, pause. Size doesn't matter when it comes to autograph. As long as the ink hits the card well and it's bold, that's all I really care
Okay,
about.
so look at this. This is his original auto, which is insane. Then he goes to this auto, which, by the way, is a travesty, this little J thing. I can see why people are getting upset with that. If you're signing a black out of 10, a red out of 5, a 1 of 1, superfractor, just have the wherewithal to realize, hey, I'm going to put a little extra effort into these 15 plus 1 superfractor, 16 signatures out of 3,000, or however many 1 of 1s and red variations and black parallels there are.
A lot.
Let's just put that extra effort into signing those cards, because that's going to mean a lot to collectors, and you won't get arthritis in your
There's so many ways you can go about it. Like Caleb Williams just hired a guy to teach him how to sign an autograph. Or you can be like Luka Doncic, get your mom to sign for you. It's not that hard, and you're getting paid super
I don't love
well.
your mom signing cards for you, though.
Well, no one wants
I don't
that.
think anyone...
Oh, you talk about the Dak Prescott with the auto pen. They had to reissue all those autographs. I honestly think Justin Herbert uses auto pen too. Have you ever seen his autograph? He doesn't miss. They're all 10s, and they're all stunning.
He has a nice signature, Herbert.
The nicest signature.
I mean, listen, though, if you sign all of your autographs and you've never signed any of them with your hand and they're all auto pen, then that's what it is, right? So I'm even less upset with that. It's another thing, though, if you've signed X amount of autographs with your hand and then 3 years later you change it, now everybody after that who's like, yeah, I hit a Dak Prescott auto, it's not real. So, and by the way, I think the way that Panini got around that was they put a sticker on the non-auto penned. By the way, the whole controversy there, and I'm pretty sure there's like a documentary on this, is that Dak Prescott was accused of using an auto pen for signing some of his Prism rookie cards. Somehow, a 4 of 10 Dak Prescott and then like another 4 of 10 got hit. So two collectors figured this out together. Like, we both have a 4 of 10. What was going on, Panini? So I think in-house Panini realized this, and then they reprinted with the auto pen. Excuse me. It was first printed with the auto pen.
And then re-released.
And then re-released. Dak signed them all. And there was a sticker on the card that said, this is an official Dak Prescott autograph.
If you're in the wild and you see a Dak Prescott rookie NT with a Panini seal on it, that means that's his autograph. If you see one in a slab, you're probably getting an auto pen.
So there was a brief time where Dak like went up in price, and I was like, ooh, I should probably sell. And then he's fallen off a cliff, and I'm probably down.
Remember 2016, the Cowboys slot with Zeke and Dak was like a fortune?
Which is insane, by the way. Like, when has that happened again?
Oh.
I mean, even like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson being in the same class, like, that's nowhere near a Dak and a Zeke, you know? Because the Jets also stink. So the next question is, what do we think about eBay and this new PSA pricing structure? Have you seen this?
Yeah, now you can get your 5s back quicker. You know, your PSA 6s. If you're grading cards off eBay, you might as well go to the Hard Rock and just spend some money on Baccarat. You're just gambling.
So just for anybody is unaware, who's listening, break down exactly what eBay is actually releasing. They're releasing that you can buy a card on their platform, and then before you receive it, get it sent to PSA.
Yeah,
correct?
now we're getting more big card companies collabing to steal more money from the consumer. Now you can get your damaged raw card off eBay and send it directly to PSA instead of just sending it back to yourself and finding out it's damaged on your own. I think who is buying cards off eBay and grading them? Are you like pulling out like a magnifying glass on your computer and looking at the card? Don't you want the card back to see if it's good?
And I think that a lot of true hobbyists will be watching this show early, but I also think that there will be some inexperienced consumers who are just getting into the hobby or into the market. And just a disclaimer, if you're watching, if you're buying a card off of eBay, most likely that card raw is not going to PSA 10. I would say there's a 95% chance that if you buy a card off eBay, by the way, caveat to that is if it just got pulled from a product and someone puts it online, it could PSA 10, but also that person is most likely experienced enough to see a dimple or see an imperfection on the card, and that's why that person is auctioning it on eBay. Now, where you can get a little lucky there is if somebody's strapped for cash and they're just like, I don't want to send it to PSA, I don't care, I just need the cash.
It definitely happens.
It happens. It
it's
100%
a 1 in 5
happens.
chance, but it happens.
It happens.
Here's a trick, guys. When you get your cards back, don't just send them willy-nilly to PSA. You need to get a professional or teach yourself enough to look through the card thoroughly. Because if you look through all these PSA reports, people are sending in 4s and 5s and 6s and 8s and 7s. And right now, I want to talk about grading. PSA is changing how hard it is to get a 10. They think that a 10 should be 3x raw. They think a 9 should be worth more than raw. And they think 8 should be raw prices. So right now, they are trying to make 10s impossible to get to raise the value of 9s so that their system makes sense. Like right now, if you submit a card, I think the gem rates this past couple months are like way under like 10% right now.
But you just nailed it. That's how the market was 5 years ago.
It should be, actually.
And that's how it should be. A PSA 10 should be 3 to 4x the price of a PSA 9. And by the way, that should be reflected in the scarcity of the card. So if there's 500 PSA 9s of a card in population, there should only be 50 to 100 PSA 10s, which justifies the cost of it being 4 or 5x because there's 4x less the supply, right? So I love that if you're sending if you're spending $20 of your hard-earned money to send your card to PSA, right? And it gets a PSA 9, which is, by the way, a 9 out of 10,
Hard
right?
to get.
Right, a 90%, an A on any test you've taken in your life, right? That card should be worth a little bit more than the $20 that you spent to grade it, right? Like even if it's a $200 card, right, raw. Let's say a $200 card raw, and you spend $20 to have it graded, right? You should at minimum have a $250 PSA 9 minimum.
Yeah. And you're
right?
talking about the best situation. What if you send Express? What if you send the
Right,
$250?
right.
You're spending $20, wait 4 months, see if the card sticks the value, and then you get a 9. Like, I submitted a card Express the other day and got a BGS 9. It was a Caitlin Clark Gold Auto. Thank God BGS doesn't upcharge. I'll get into BGS later. But if I went to PSA and spent a $250 and then got a $3K upcharge and got a PSA 9, I would have been the whole like $2-3 grand. It would have been crazy.
And listen, as somebody in the hobby, obviously we love our gems. We love to see PSA 10s. But for the good of the hobby overall, I would much rather PSA do the right thing and figure out that system where PSA 10s are really hard to get. They are very few and far between, rarely happen, so that when you do have a PSA 10, especially a Kaboom or a Downtown or an RPA, that card is significantly worth more than the next version of it. And listen, I agree with a PSA 8 and a raw card should be the same price. Yeah. Those two things, listen, let's be real. 8s are disgusting. They're ugly. They're obviously disgusting and nobody wants them. I think JGL and Brandon sent me I forget what the card was. It was in a BGS 7.5. And I said, who would put that at auction in a 7.5? Why would you even do that? And it's not even about trying to fool the person buying the card if it's raw. It's like selling your card with a stain on it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just have that in a mag, or even like Zion Cases makes like a good-looking mag.
Yeah, the new ones.
I'd rather, or even or just have it authenticated. Send it to PSA and just say authentic.
If your card starts with 2010 and it's lower than an 8, you're wrong. But PSA did this to themselves. They were doing handshake deals and giving 10s to everyone. That's why this stuff dropped. Now, what you're going to see is BGS is going to benefit a lot from this because A, they don't upcharge, and B, they're going to take all the people that just can't get PSA 10s now, and they're going to take them to BGS, and they're going to get their black labels. They're going to get their BGS 95s. You can see these huge influencers are going to BGS now, and they're gemming everything. Like, look at the Roth cards. Look at high-end case breaks, who are one of the best PSA graders in the planet, are now sending cards to BGS because it's easier to gem there. So BGS is going to grow. And if you remember, mid-2010s, BGS was the best. You wanted BGS cards. They're better slabs, gold label, transparent. They have subgrades. So this whole PSA of trying to fix what they fucked up for themselves is only going to help BGS cards. You're going to see BGS cards, 9.5s should not be half of a 10. They should be more than half.
No, that's I mean, a 9.5 should be 80% of a 10, like minimum. I mean, and not to mention the fact of the matter too with BGS 9.5s is, I would argue that they're even closer to a 10. You know what I mean? In terms of, you'd have to check the pops on different players. But a really interesting video I just saw this past week, and I don't think this happened recently, but Logan Paul, I guess he purchased a card from Gary V, as I understand it. It was a PSA 10 Charizard. And this has to be like 2018, 2019 maybe, because I think he said he paid $150K for it. Maybe it was 2020. Yeah, maybe it was 2020. He said he purchased the PSA 10. At the time, I believe there was 300 PSA 10 Charizards. I think that was the pop. Close to that, at least. There was only 2 or 3 BGS 10 Charizards. Oh, yeah. So Logan Paul was talking about, I think I want to crack my PSA 10 and resubmit it to BGS. Yeah, right. And he was saying, but if I screw up one corner or the surface, like I could lose $100,000.
It's not even
right? And he did it. And he got the 10 from BGS.
He got BGS 10?
He got it.
That's just a favor, man. That's the problem with these grading companies. They're doing favors for people.
Sure.
Do you see Probstein with his Jordan Fleers? He sent, I think he has like 100 of them, sent them all during Nationals to BGS. Now one cross to a 10. And if you look at the pop report for Fleer Jordans, there are 2 10s. No one knows where they are or how much they're going to do, but they're in existence. They're out there. I have a problem that BGS and PSA have no accountability for handing out grades. Like, there should be an arbiter. I don't know what the word is. Someone that looks over them and be like, hey, that's overgraded, that's undergraded. Like, you're giving a free grade. Because I have looked through slabs recently. I just bought a Steph Curry Gold Rookie Studio Auto 9.5. I was like, oh, it's a Gem Plus. Let me cross it over. I looked at it. It's like a PSA 8. Don't tell anyone because I have to sell that card. But it's like a PSA 8.
Don't tell anyone while we're telling everyone.
Yeah. Also, what I've noticed with the new hobbyists don't know the difference is I have a John Morant Mojo Auto and a BGS 9.5 Gem Plus. They had no idea what a Gem Plus is. They think a 9.5 is all the same. The subgrades mean something. Like, if it's 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, 9, that card's a piece of shit. If it's a 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, 10, that should be 90% of a PSA 10.
I mean, listen, like these Gem Pluses, these true Gem Pluses, that's a business in itself, like scoping those out and seeing if you can send them to PSA, right? Like, why would you not cross that over? Because somebody experienced in the hobby who's at a show, they will pay the premium on that, right? And if you can find those kind of diamonds in the rough, find the subgrades, get them to PSA, like now you don't need a true collector to buy that card. Once you got the PSA 10, you got the 10, you can sell that on eBay, you can sell that on Golden, you can sell it at Heritage, wherever you want to sell it, you're going to get the premium for the 10. But I agree, BGS does have way cooler variations, being the black label, being the subgrades, right? These little nuances in the hobby, it's a shame that PSA hasn't evolved and started offering things like that because it's also transparency. Like, the reason your card didn't get a PSA 10 is because XYZ.
Have you seen the grading notes? JGL, what do they give you in the grading notes for the Fleer Jordan? Yeah, he's a beautiful Fleer Jordan. We crossed over from a CSA to a PSA slab. They gave it an 8. We just wanted to know why, and he goes, corner. They have like elementary school English. Like, can you just actually give me a brief description because I paid you $250 on why my card's not a 10?
Well, at minimum, you should get descriptions. Like, if you're gonna act like the mafia and just make up prices and charge these upcharge fees with no reason behind it, over a certain value, whether it's $200 you're paying to grade a card or $400, like there should be a detailed analysis of, hey, the corner was dinged on the top right. You had an edge issue on the bottom left, which resulted in a 0.5 ding, which brought you down from a 10 to a 9.5 at first sight. Then there was a blemish on the backside of the card because listen, I have guys who I'll send my cards to look at them before they go to PSA, and they are very, very adamant about the back of the cards too, right? Like this is something that as a collector, you're like, whatever, who cares? But PSA cares. BGS cares. They're going to look at the back of the card, and if there's blemishes on the back of it, that could be what prevents you from getting a 10.
And speaking of cards that shouldn't have gotten 10s, that Cooper Flagg sale that just happened, that card is actually close to here. We've seen it. That card got a 10. I don't know how it got a 10. Those McDonald's cards look like they were made at McDonald's. I mean, what do you think of that sale?
$85,000 for a Cooper Flagg-McDonald's card is insane. I think that the card only will go down in price from here. What Cooper Flagg would have to do in his career for that card to go up in price, first off, that's a very, very long-term investment, right? Like, number one, he'd have to win a championship, and he'd have to be the reason. By the way, not that this is a sidebar, but Cooper Flagg, at the moment, the Jazz are the last in the NBA, first to win the lottery. OKC has the rights to Utah's pick.
No way.
So if the Jazz come in last, because they traded through the one of the Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul trades, OKC stacked up like 9 or 10 first-round picks. They have Utah's first-round pick. We could see a scenario where OKC wins the championship and then drafts Cooper Flagg, which is insane. And by the way, like they're not losing anybody. They'll have SGA. They just signed Caruso. They just signed Hardenstein. I'm pretty sure Jalen Williams is locked up. Like they have Dort. They have so many players, and now they add Cooper Flagg. I don't know who they would lose next year, but
I think the last team that did that was the Len Bias deal with the Celtics, where the guy died at draft night.
I don't. If it's happened before, I'm unaware of it. You might be right, but Cooper Flagg, $85,000. Remember, everyone's going to want, well, I guess, is Cooper Flagg going to have a Prism card with?
Yes. Cooper Flagg's going to have every card there is.
Yeah, but with a logo on it?
With Prism, I assume so. I don't know what the rules is. No one knows the rules.
All right. Well, we don't know. Let us know in the comments, please, if you're watching, if Cooper Flagg will actually have a licensed Prism card, because that will be one of the most coveted cards. But if not, it's going to be a Topps Chrome card, right? And who knows if they'll have pro debut patches, the basketball version of those for Cooper Flagg.
There will be 30 cards better than this one.
So Cooper Flagg is going to have a significant amount of cards that are worth way more than his McDonald's French fry McRib $85,000 sale. This is cool as a headline, but whoever bought that, I think, is in for a rude awakening. You need, number one, Cooper Flagg to do incredible things in the NBA, which could take a while. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great talent. I don't know how long it takes for that card to mature in price. If they win a championship, sure. Whatever team that drafts him, could that card in theory go up in price? Yes. I think that from the time it was purchased last week to even right now, after Duke choked in the actual championship game, that card went from $85K to like 60, 50, 40K in 1 week. Like if you re-auction that card right now, what do you think it goes for?
I think it does like 20K. Also, what's the deal with these Golden sales? Have you noticed that? Paul Skeens and now this, like who is bidding on Golden? Are these real? Like, is there a Dubai billionaire who's just like, yeah, why not? Here's my lunch money. Who is spending $80K on Cooper, $1 million on Paul Skeens? I mean, did McDonald's buy it?
Well, I don't know about the Ohtani, and I don't know about this Cooper Flagg. We know that Dick's bought the Skeens card, which by the way, that makes sense because Dick's that's a write-off for them. Yeah. Right? So now they pay less taxes. Now they have this piece of art. It's a marketing expense. Now they can put it at different Dick's locations around the country. If Paul Skeens performs well, more people are going to want to see it. They're going to buy Prism and Topps blasters at Dick's while they're there. So that makes sense to me, right? The Ohtani sale of $1 million, I want to say that doesn't make sense, but if it came out of his jersey on a 50-50 year, so
I think Golden is the premier spot for gimmicky bullshit. If you have a gimmicky bullshit card, you are next day get to Ken.
How do we get these gimmicky bullshit cards? Because I'm trying to get it to Ken immediately.
Yeah. Just open a bunch of dog shit product, you know?
Yeah. Ken, can you just like put a gimmick behind one of the cards I own,
Like,
maybe?
who's opening 50-50 Otanis in McDonald's basketball? Like, ugh.
Who is opening McDonald's basketball is a great question.
Oh, and what did the Caitlin Clark did on gold? They did like
300K. But to be honest, what do you think is a better purchase? Caitlin Clark, Prism, Superfractor, or one of one, whatever it was. Not a Prism Superfractor. What am I thinking?
It is Superfractor because what
but is it gold vinyl one of one?
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever they call it in Panini, because they obviously produce the same product but call them different names.
Yeah.
Silver and Refractor, right? One of one rookie Caitlin Clark for 300K, or are you spending 85K on a Cooper Flagg card?
Caitlin Clark
all
by
day.
$1 million.
All day by $1 million.
Caitlin Clark, she could hoop. Listen, I may be talking shit calling it a gimmicky product because I don't know anything about WNBA, but at least I know that she's Jordan of this stuff. Cooper Flagg isn't even better than Wemby coming out of the like. Cooper Flagg is not like, oh, this generation's #1 player. Like, he just lost to Houston.
Well, I think that we've determined that this Cooper Flagg purchase is worth less than the wrapper that you throw in the trash for your French fries from McDonald's. So, horrible purchase, horrible timing. Great timing for the guy who sold it, but Duke losing the way they did to Houston was an absolute travesty, but also they made a lot of bonehead plays. And
no disrespect to Cooper Flagg. He's a good player.
Cooper Flagg's a great player.
Yeah. But that McDonald's card's terrible.
No, it's terrible, and that guy just probably lost at minimum 50K.
Yeah. Maybe he gets free McDonald's the rest of the year. Who knows? Like, it should come with perks.
Free McDonald's. You heard it here first. All right, everybody. That wraps our show this week of Up or Down. Again, I am Dappz with co-host Ethan. And please let us know in the comments, do you think the Caitlin Clark one-of-one rookie selling for $300,000 was the better buy, or do you think it was the McDonald's Cooper Flagg at $85K? I think you know both Ethan and I's opinion. Also, I want to know in the comments, how much money do you think this guy lost on this $85,000 Cooper Flagg sale? Did he lose 50K, 40K, or 30K? More, less? Let us know in the comments, please. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. We'll see you next week.